Welcome my dears in this very interesting tutorial. This time I will create together and step by step this great restaurant flyer using of course Photoshop. In this lesson you will learn and master different Photoshop tools and multiple image editing techniques. Before we begin, if you don't have the Adobe Photoshop installed in your machine, I placed the link in the description below where you can download the last version of Adobe Photoshop for free. And if you have any problem installing the software or applying today's lesson, just leave me a comment and I will reply to help you. So let's get started. So the first thing, we create a new blank document with the dimensions you can see here. We click create and we use the Polygonal Tool. The Polygon tool, we choose 40 pixel in the radius and we create this polygon like you can see here, and so on. We try to choose a color for our polygon. So the two main colors we will use in this flyer are the gray one and the yellow. So we go to the color of the polygon and we will choose this gray color, right? And now we try to make the polygon a little more bigger from the width. We go to edit and transform path and we choose scale and we create this effect. We render the polygon from its bottom part. We click OK. Very good. With the same manner, we create a new polygon, a new other one. So the first thing, using Ctrl T, we scale and we redimension a little our first polygon. When we finish, we create a new empty layer and with the same manner we create a second polygon. This time it will be like this. For the color we will choose this yellow color. We make the second one before the first one we create another empty layer and we will create a third polygon. For the color we will choose this yellow color. We create a fourth one. We will choose the gray color this time. So now we will change the place. We move with the move tool. And now, like you will see, we will try to redimension our shapes and our polygons until we are satisfied with the result we are searching for. We try to make this one a little tall and we push this one a little to the to the bottom. That's fine. We select the two layers together and we will try to push them. We come back to this third one. We try to edit its position. So like you can see here, we can use of course the combination keys from the keyboard, the Control C from the keyboard of course to show the points of transformation, these point transformation, to transform and resize our shapes. We have to click on the keyboard on the Control T, the combination Control T from the keyboard. These are the points we are talking about, which gives you the ability to transform and resize any shape you are working with. So we will try to resize these two shapes until we have the design we are searching for. We can of course move their position using the move tool. We continue editing the shape and editing the transformation points and editing of course the size, the width and the height of the two shapes, using always the combination I just talked about, the Control T from the keyboard, Control plus C. So I think we should edit a little the two polygons until we are satisfied with the results of course. We come back to it. We select the two shapes and we move them a little, and we come back to the third one, the one with the gray color. We add a little width to it like this. So now we will use this image. So we will use the move tool to move it and place it here. We will use this image. So the first thing, we will apply the layer mask we are using on this image, the first thing. So we push it the first thing to the bottom of the two polygons or our two shapes. It should be at the bottom of the two shapes, and after that right click here, apply layer mask to remove the layer mask. And now we go to convert to smart object. We convert the image to a smart object, and using Ctrl T from the keyboard and holding the shift key, we make and we resize our cooker image, and we move it, we place it in the right position like you can see here. So we will go to edit to transform and we will flip it horizontally. With this way, I think this way is more brilliant. And Ctrl C another time and holding the shift key, I will make it a little bigger Don't forget when resizing and smart objects, always hold the shift key when resizing the objects or the image or any kind of objects you are working with and you try to resize it out or change its dimensions. Always there are the steps. First, convert the object to a smart one, a smart object, and use the Ctrl T from the keyboard to show the transformation points, and after that hold always the shift key while transforming or resizing the objects or the image. So we continue our edits like you can see here. So now we go to edit, transform, and we go to flip horizontal. So we undo the last changement we just already did. I think this time is more wonderful. The image looks great. So using Ctrl T another time, I resize it. Always be careful to not forget to use the shift key while resizing and changing the dimensions of a smart object. So we come back to our polygon, our yellow one. We try to a little change its dimensions a little and make this one a little smaller. And using the directions key, the direction keys from the keyboard, I place my polygon in the right place. I resize this one also a little, push it a little to the right. Now I will use this image here, this crystal image, and I will try to push it here. So I right click on it and create clipping mask, and using Ctrl T from the keyboard I resize it, always with the same manner while resizing it or while redimension it. Always try to keep the shift key pressed from the keyboard, and this is the result we get. And I will change the blend mode to soft lights. I change the blending mode to soft lights. Of course I will use the soft lights mode like you can see here. It gives us a very wonderful effect. I make it a little bigger another time using Ctrl T from the keyboard and holding the shift key always. Now I will create a clipping mask. So I duplicate the layer. I create a second copy from the crystal layer. I will create it a clipping mask for this second shape. So I will push it here and convert it to a smart object. And when you push it, you will see that it is applied like a layer. A clipping mask for our polygon. So now we create a empty as the top layer, and we will use this image here. Using the move tool, we will place it here like you can see, convert it to a smart object, and use Ctrl C to scale it and change of course its size. So now using the move tool, I will place it in the right place. Before that, I will make it more smaller, and I will move it and place it in the right place I want. So now I will use a line, I will create a line. So I think the line tool will not be a very handy tool. So for this example, I will use the rectangle tool to create a layer, a line layer, like you will see in a few seconds. You will see that we will use not the line tool, but we will use the rectangle tool to create the line we are searching for. Because although I try to use the line tool, it will not be useful for our case. So for that we will use a rectangle tool to create the yellow line. So I come back here, and this time like you can see, I'm trying to apply the color for the line tool, but it will not be very useful in our case, so we will try to use a rectangle tool and not a line tool. Like you can see, we try to change the width of our line. It will not be very useful, so we will delete it, and this time we will use a rectangle tool, and we create a very thin and a very small rectangle. Like you can see here, I will choose here the yellow color I am using on my flyer from the beginning, of course, and I will try to resize it to make it the size I want. So I will make a little zoom in to see things very clearly, and using Ctrl C I try to make it very thin, like you can see here. So I come back with a zoom out and I selection it. I try to make it more smaller with a little high. Of course you can add a little width also to the rectangle. So like you will see now, the rectangle is nearly ready to use. So I think I will resize it more. This way I think it's good now. So I have to make it smaller, more smaller from the high, and add just a little to the width. Like this, it's fine I think now. So we try to use the move tool to place it in just in the middle of our design, of our part design here. So using the move tool, I will try to place it to the right place. I think it is in the right in the middle. It should be in the middle of a two images I will use. The first one is already placed, and I will place the second one just in a few moments. So try to focus with me and continue. Continue applying the lesson with me, of course. So this is the second image I will use. So like I did earlier, using the move tool, I move it to my flyer. I convert it to a smart object, and I use Ctrl T from the keyboard, and I resize it, of course, holding the shift key like I did earlier with the first image. So I place it at the top of the first image so I can see the size of the two images, and I can see if they are similar in terms of size. They should be, of course, similar. So we will continue our edits like you can see here. We try to refine a little the line or the rectangle line between the two images. We try to make it and to position it, to move it to the middle. That's fine now. It is just in the middle of the two images. It has the same distance at the right and also at the left. So now we will type our text layer using the gray color, of course, and we will change the size and maybe the font of the text to be accurate. We try to change the size of the paragraph. And using Ctrl G, we will create a duplicate copy of this text. Using Ctrl G, of course, from the keyboard, we create a double copy from this text. We delete it and we will type the title of this paragraph. So we will make it more bigger because it is, of course, a title. And using the move tool, I will push it to this part here. I will selection it and make the size just a little smaller. And using the move tool, I position the title. So I think now I have to rearrange the title, the paragraph, and of course to be authentic with the image position. So I think the paragraph contains so many text, so I have to delete some. So I'm sorry, I would say I have to delete some phrases because it is not logic that we have so many text in these paragraphs in this kind of flyers. So I come back to the text layer and I will selection like you will see. After that I will try to remove some phrases from this paragraph, from this text layer. So like you see now, we remove many phrases. We will let the text. I selection the two text now and I use Ctrl G to duplicate them. I create a new copy from the text and holding the shift key, I move the new copy to keep the level, the vertical and the horizontal level of the first text layers I had. So when I create this second copy, when I move it, I push the shift key from the keyboard to keep and to get the same level from the original text layers. So I think I should remove more phrases from the paragraphs so looks good here. So like you notice, we are trying to make some edits in these parts here. And that's fine. The two paragraphs are in the same level. So all I have to do now is remove a little text from the two paragraphs. This kind of text shouldn't have so many phrases, so I will try to remove a little, something like this. I will remove it, and that's fine now. Very good. And in the other side, I will do the same thing. So I will select the paragraph. I will remove phrases I am not interested in. So now I think the result I get is very wonderful. So I will try to maybe push the text from the right a little to the right. For the rectangle, I think it is in the very right position, just in the middle. This is the position, the middle of the two images. Very good now. So now it's done. I will come back to the top layer and I will create a polygon, a rounded polygon. I will create it with the yellow color. I will make it more smaller. Here, I will place it here. All right. And now I will create a rectangle with the gray color. I will change the rectangle color to the gray one. Yes, like this. And I will create a clipping mask for the rounded rectangle and the polygon. And with the move tool, I will push the rectangle, the gray rectangle, until it looks in the middle, very precisely in the middle of our polygon. So I will do it another time. So first thing, I will create a polygon. I will change its color to the yellow one. And now I will use a rectangle. I will use this rectangle tool and I will create a rectangle. I will try to make it just in the middle of our layer. So I will first make the polygon more smaller, like this. So I come back to the polygon, I will change its color to the yellow one, like this. So now I have to create a rectangle. I will make it more smaller. I think now it's fine. So just a little bigger. Yes, now I think it's fine. So now I will create a rectangle, a normal rectangle. I will try to make it just in the middle of my, yes, with this kind here. I will change its color to the gray one. And now I will create a clipping mask. Like you can see, a clipping mask. That's fine now. We have the great results we are searching for. So now we have to do is duplicate these two layers, the rounded and the rectangle clipping mask layer, the two ones. I will select them. Before that, I will type the text I have to include in this area. So I will type 20% off. So for the 20%, of course, I will choose We will move it, we will choose the white color, of course, to be visible in our layers. And using the move tool, I move it and I will place it here in the yellow one, the yellow parts of our design. I will make the size more smaller, a little smaller. Sorry. And now I will type the off text. All right. So I will type so we will copy the text layer using Ctrl G, of course, from the keyboard, and we will try to move the new copy. We try to move the new copy to the left side, and we will type, of course, off. That's good. So now all we have to do is select the two text layers with the two shapes, all the four layers. We will select them and we will duplicate them using Ctrl G from the keyboard to create a double copy like this, and we will move it holding the shift key to keep and to preserve the level, the horizontal and the vertical level. Now I think everything it's okay. So now, like you can see, everything it's okay. So we will continue designing our flyer. So we come back, we create a new, this time a new polygon or a new ellipse. For the slides, we will I think we will use 25 slide, like you can see here. We will use 25 slide and we will use the star option for the color. We will choose the yellow one, the yellow color. That's great. And we click on Ctrl T on the keyboard to resize the shape. That's fine. For the stroke, I think we will make a white stroke or a gray stroke. So for the stroke, we will not use a stroke, just a yellow color in the background, and we resize it using Ctrl T from the keyboard, and we will place it here to write the price on. We move it a little to the left. In the same manner, we create a duplicate copy and we push it, we move it to the left. We will place it here. Always when moving copies and objects that you want to keep the level, the horizontal and the vertical level when moving it, just keep holding the shift key from the keyboard. So now we will create a rectangle to make it as the bottom of our flyer, like this. For the color of this rectangle, we will use the gray color. Another time, with a very light gray color, we will try to find a light gray color, like something like this. And of course, we will make it more lighter. So we will make it as the bottom of our flyer design, like you can see here. So now we will use a polygon another time. Polygon we will try to use with 12 slides. I think for the color we will choose the yellow color. We will make it more smaller using always Ctrl C from the keyboard, like I always said. And I think we will choose the yellow color for the stroke, and we will add a little pixels to the stroke so it can be visible. We'll use it here. And now we will try to make it more smaller, of course. We position it to the middle of our rectangle, and we make a little zoom in to see the shape and to position it in the right place. Maybe we'll make it just a little smaller. And for now I will use these icons. I will use the icons to create a bottom bar. So I will use this first icon here. I will change its mode to multiply or to vivid light, and I will apply on it a gradient, a color overlay. I will use, of course, the yellow color I am using on my flyer from the beginning. And of course, for the blending mode, I will choose the normal blending mode. I come back to the color overlay. I will add a little opacity to the color overlay effect, and I will make it more smaller to be accurate with our design. And I will place it using the move tool to the middle of this shape. That's fine, like you can see here. So now I select the polygon, and I will try to duplicate it with this manner. So like you can see, I duplicate the shape. I will make it in the same position, and holding the shift key I move it to the right to keep the same level of the original shape. So now I select a second, I will select and copy a second icon. So this time I will try to copy this GPS icon. For that I will use the quick selection tool. So I will use, like you will see, the quick selection tool with the plus mark, and I will copy it using Ctrl C. I come back to my documents and I will pass it using Ctrl V, of course, and using the move tool I will place it, and I try to make it here. So I will resize it and make it more smaller, like this, like you can see here, with this manner. So all I have to do now is apply the gradients, the color overlay effects I just applied on the first icon. So I will apply it also in the second icon with this manner here. So I come back, I make a little zoom out to see the whole flyer at once. So now everything is okay, so I will try to move things. So I am searching for the two layers here, the shape and the icon layer. So I will try to move them together and reposition them like this to the left, to the top left. That's good. I will resize them. I make them a little, just a little smaller. And I come back and select these two ones. I will try to keep them the same size like this. Now it's fine, they have the same size. So of course I will hold the shift key to position the second ones as the same. I will just make them a little bigger. I think now they have the same size. They need to be just a little bigger. So using the shift key, I move the second object and I will place it here. I think it's fine because I will add some text here. So like you can see, I add some text here with the white color. So I think I have to eliminate so many phrases. Just keep the important ones. I will change the color to the gray one another time. I click OK. That's fine. I will change text to bold, to Arial bold. Using the move tool, I will change the text size to 10. Very nice now. And using the move tool, I will place the text here. Great. I will Ctrl G, duplicate the text layer and create a second text. So now all I have to do is push the text at the right with the icon and the shape to the right to give the left part more free position and more free area to looks accurate, and to make, like you can see here, we try to move the three elements at once. We try to find them in the layer panel and select them using the control key from the keyboard. Select the three layers at once and move them to the right to free up more space to the left part and get a great design, a very professional design, of course. With this manner here, like you can see. So now I come back to the first layer. I go to File, Open, and I will open this image here. This barcode image, I will try to use it on my documents. It will not be allowed to use with this manner, so I will select it using the rectangle selection tool. I will select this image. I will use Ctrl C, Ctrl V to copy and paste the elements and the new layer in my flyer, in my documents, of course. So I'm searching now for the new layer I just passed in my documents. I'm searching for it. So now, so I push the new layer, I copy, and I will make it just at top of of the polygon here, so I will push the new layer and I will make it here. That's fine. I will make it more smaller. Very good. And another time I will position it at the right place. I think here it's fine. And of course I will try to create a second copy using Ctrl G from the keyboard. Like you can see here, I create a second copy and I go to edit, transform, and I will flip it or rotate it. I will make a rotation to get another kind of barcode to not look similar. So I use the same barcode image, but I flip it. I make a rotation on it so it looks different from the original one. And now I will type a text here using a text layer, of course. So I'm trying to type to modify and edit the text layer using the black Arial. So I think I have to use the impact font here. It will be more grid, so I try to position the text. Also, the color of the text layer of this paragraph should be the gray one and not a black color. So I reselect the text and I'm trying to make the size more smaller with this way, like you can see here. So I come back to the whole text. Now I position it as the right place I am satisfied with. That's fine. That's good. So I reselect the text. I change the color to, of course, I have to change the color to the gray one and not a white color, of course. It not will be visible here, so I have to change the color to gray one like this. And of course the fonts, I have to change it to, I think, the Arial one. The normal Arial one will be very good here. I position the text, the paragraph to the middle of my polygon. I come back and I select the text. Alright, I try to make it inside the box and try to position it using the direction keys from the keyboard to make it just in the middle of the shape. So now I will try to find the rectangle, the yellow rectangle I used as a line, and now I have to transform it. I create a new copy, of course, using Ctrl G from the keyboard, a new copy from the original one, and I go to transform. I will flip it, rotate it 90°, and I will use the move tool and place it here, like you can see, with this manner. Very good now. So we continue our edits. We try to move the two objects. We select them from the layer panel and we try to move them a little to the bottom, like you can see here. Very good now. That's right, that's fine. So now I come back to the text layer. I will create a new, or I try to select the text here and I come back to this one here, this last one I just create, and I will try to create a copy using Ctrl G from the keyboard. I create a copy from the text, I will delete it, and I will write Lorem Ipsum, like, which means a title. I will make it here. So I will try to edit a little the size of the font or the kind of font. So this will be a title here, like you can notice. And using Ctrl G, I create a second copy, and it will be another time a title for this second barcode. Right, so now I will use these two icons, the Apple icon and the Android icon. I will use them and copy paste the first icon. I will copy it and paste it here, and the second one with the same manner I will select it using the quick selection tool. I will select this Android icon, and I will use Ctrl C from the keyboard and Ctrl V to copy it and paste it in our flyer. So I will paste it here, and using the move tool, of course, I will move it and place it here. So I will try to make the two icons similar in means of dimensions, of size, of course. I will resize the two layers together, and I will move the first one to a little to the top, and the second one a little here, just here. It's fine now. Very good. So now I select this layer, the two layers together, and I will create a gradient, a color overlay. For the color, I will use the gray color to give them this effect, this gray color overlay effect, like you can see here. And I come back and I will remove a little text from this paragraph. I think I have too much text here, so I remove a little text. I will change the size. That's fine. So I come back here, I move the text. So very good now, and so I select the text another time, and I continue. I think I will change the font to impact. The impact will be more visible and more wonderful here in terms of text fonts. So I place it to the middle of my polygon, of course, and change the type of font to smooth. That's very good now. I think the two icons at the bottom are in the right position. The rectangle also, I will move the rectangle to the high to make it just as the bottom of after the paragraph. That's good. And now I will use the move tool to create a duplicate text layer. I duplicate it, I will remove it on the text, and I will use just this sentence, this phrase. Alright, I will move it a little to the bottom. That's very good now. I select the phrase, I will remove, let's just see these 3 words. I position it in the right place for it. Like this. I think now everything is fine. So I come back to the top layer and I will create another text layer, a new one. I will write this time the title of my flyer. So I select the text, I change its color to white, and I will position it here. So it will be the title of this part from my design. So I could duplicate it using Ctrl+G from the keyboard, and now here I will type the phone number of this restaurant I am doing the flyer for. So I will write now the phone number. So for the phone number, we know that the background is gray, like you can notice. So we will try to use a lighter color, like the yellow, a very natural yellow color. So I go to the yellow one here, and I will try to go to the top to get the most lighter yellow color I can use. So I will use this one. I will adjust a little the size of the font of the text. I will try to make the text visible. So I come back here. I will try to find the rectangle I'm working on. So I will try to make the rectangle more smaller, and the text also I will adjust its size and also the polygon, so I can have more wonderful results, more professional work. So I'm trying now to find the rectangle I will edit on. So I make all the layers visible and hidden until I find. So I think now it is, yes, this is the rectangle we want to edit on. So use Ctrl+T to show the transformation points, and now adjust the dimensions. Alright, so now I will try to move the text here into the layer, into our polygon, and also this title here should be moved and reposition it. The phone number also, like you can see here. Right. With this manner, like you can notice, we are trying to get a good result. So we try to select the whole things together, the polygon layer, the 2 text layers together, and resize them and move them. I think now it's fine. So all we have to do is make the text which is into our polygon. We will try to move it to the middle. Now we resize a little the image, the cooker image, like this. We rotate it, we make a little rotation. until we get a meaningful result. That's good now. So now all we have to do is move the phone number text to the middle of our layer, like you can see here. Very good now. Now everything is okay. So I will add a little size to the phone number text to make it more clear and more visible, because we know this phone number text is very important for these restaurants to make clients contact them. Of course, this is the most important objective of this whole work. So I will come back and search in all these layers I have here for the rectangle. So I think this is the rectangle. So using Ctrl T, I will make it a little bigger. Another time I will edit it to make it a little bigger, like you can see here. They move the text. I try to make it exactly in the middle, in the center. Very good now. So I come back to the rectangle. I push it a little to the left to be very accurate and to looks great and professional. So now all we have to do is create. So I come back to the phone number text and I move it a little using the direction keys from the keyboard. Alright, so now I write a new text. It will be the title of our flyer, of course. So I use the white color for this text here. I will move it here and I will add more size to it using the impact font this time. So the text will be tasty. So I will change the color to the gray one, like you can see here. That's my first title text. So I try to change the size. For the font, I will use the impact one, the regular impact one. So using the move tool, I will try to place it in the right position for it. And now I duplicate it using Ctrl G from the keyboard. I create a new copy from the text. Now I will type, for example, seafood, tasty seafood restaurant. I will select the text and now I will choose this font, which is called the Aurelio font. This is the font I will choose for my second text or second title. I will move it until, so I will change the size, make it just a little smaller. So I will choose 55 points or pixel in this text size here. I move it a little, and for the color I will choose the yellow color, of course, like you can see here, and I will try to, using the move tool, I will try to move it, and so I come back and I add more size to the text and I move it here I think it will be very good here. So I move also the tasty word, tasty text, I move it here. Alright, so I select the two layers together and I push them to the top. This way, very good. So I come back to the text. I copy it, I create a new copy from it, and I will use this text here. I move it here, yes, exactly here. So here I will type, I will choose the fonts, the yellow fonts of course, and I will type a Lauren Epsom text. So I will try to make it just a little bigger, and I will move it until being in this place here. Move it using the direction keys from the keyboard. Moving objects in a flyer or in a Photoshop document, it's done with the, which means I want to say that moving objects with the direction keys from the keyboard is more simple and more easy to move it with the mouse. And now I create this circle here. I will push it, put it right in this place here. And for the color of this circle, I think I will so now I will not use this legumes photo or legumes image, and now I will use, I think, this image here. I will use this image. So using the move tool, I will move the image and I will put it here right as the top of the circle of the ellipse layer. And all I have to do now is create a clipping mask like we did earlier. Create clipping mask, and using Ctrl T, I will make the clipping mask more smaller and I move it until so I select the two layers together and I will resize them, make them a little bigger like you can see, and the reposition the layers here. Very good, very fine. So like you can see, we get a very professional result, a very handy and wonderful design for a tasty seafood. So all we have to do now is we will select, we'll try to put the restaurant logo into our flyer. So we will use the restaurant logo. So I think this kind of logos will be wonderful, but in our case, I think we will use another kind of logo. This one here will be more wonderful. So we convert the logo to a smart object, and using Ctrl C from the keyboard, I resize the logo. I will make it more bigger and I will push it and put it here. Okay, very good. So I, with the direction keys from the keyboard, I move it to the top, and all I have to do now is apply a color overlay effect. So I go to effects, color overlay, and of course I will use the yellow color overlay I was using all the time in this flyer. So like you can see, we get this wonderful logo. So everything now it's okay. All we have to add is the price text, I think. So now everything is okay, like you can see here. I think all we have to add is a price text. This is the text we will raise the price on. So we'll type, for example, $3 or $5, anything you want. select the text, we make it more bigger to be visible, $5. And of course for the color we will choose the white color because the background of the circles or of the shapes are yellow. So we position the $5 text exactly in the center of our shape. We duplicate it using Ctrl G from the keyboard, and holding the Shift key we will move the $5 text into its position in the center of the second shape, of course, and this time we will change it to $3 or $6, anything, whatever you want. Alright guys, like you can see, we get a very wonderful and handy and professional result step by step from an empty document to this great result. Alright, I wish you enjoyed these great tutorials. Don't forget to subscribe to get the tutorials coming up. If you have any issues installing the software or applying today's lesson, just leave me a comment and I will reply to help you. Thanks for watching and see you in the next tutorials.